We are back, and I am going to teach you now how to add in all of your clips to your sequence, and I'm going to teach you some of my favorite tips and tricks on how to use my footage, how I look through my footage, and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get started. I have my story bin, and that's where all my clips are, and let's go ahead and look through my clips. Okay, what I like to do first, once I have a good view of my clips, I like to double click and it brings up this source monitor, and that makes it so that I can quickly look through this sequence and decide where do I want to start and end my sequence. And so right now I'm going to do my very first shortcut. It's called in, which is I, and out, which is O. So let's say I really liked that little shot right there. Let's go ahead right here and go in and then out. Okay, so I like that little sequence. I drag it into my timeline. I like that in and out. Perfect. Okay, so now what you do is you go to the next clip. And I like this. They're dancing on the bed. It's super cute. And I kind of like that you can see them both like this. They're having fun. And I'm going to go ahead and drag that down and in. So basically here is another tip and another shortcut. You could either drag it in from up there, you could drag it from right here because the in and out points are marked. The other thing that you can do, another shortcut on your keyboard, is the comma. The comma button right here directly puts that into your timeline. So that is a quick way of going from here to here. So this clip, as you can tell, it's a lot bigger here, but because this clip was shot in 4K, what I would have to do to make it the full size is go into my effect controls and bring it out to a different scale. So let's say normally 50 is the exact size to go from 1080 to 4K. So that's just something that I've known for a while. So there is that. So let's say I really like going from this cool shot of them to this. Did you see how it kind of transitioned really well? Now that I have these two clips in my sequence, I can, at the very bottom, you can see I can make this go wide and show that this timeline is a lot longer. I can also zoom it in by clicking this and dragging it. Another shortcut that you can do is by pressing the plus and minus. So you can see up here I'm going plus and then minus. Okay, so now I can see this really well. Now that you have these two clips on the timeline, I can move them around. So by moving them around, you can see that there would actually be a blank space if I were to have them like this in my timeline. If I were to export it, there would be a blank space right in the middle. So one way to delete that is to right click, ripple delete. Or you can just select it and then press delete on your keyboard. So if there's any blank spaces and there's not any other things that are blocking it, then typically it'll just come and take out that space that you are not wanting to be there. So that is one other tip that I have for you. By just pressing your normal left button, you can move this clip any place that you want. You can drag it up, down, and you can see right here, if I were to place it on the top of this other clip, whatever is on the top is going to be shown. So now that you have those two clips into your timeline, and let's say you you had a bunch of things in your timeline that you just wanted to look underneath, you can press this I button. This will hide and unhide whatever is on that layer. So if it was on this layer, I could press the I and it would hide it again. So that is another cool tip for when you are wanting to know how to work this Premiere. Another thing I'm going to show you is that you can drag out this clip. Even though I had it at a certain length that I had felt like I wanted, I can still make it longer because there was more at the end, but because I used the trick of doing the in and out and I dragged it in, and there was still more at the end that I could have dragged in, I can always take this red dot or this red and I can drag it in and out. And so whatever length you want it at, as long as it doesn't get to the very end, you can just decide based on what you're wanting. So that is another thing. The next thing that I'm going to show you, which is really important, is this shortcut. So basically right here you have your razor tool. Your razor tool is what you use to cut your clip into different pieces. So now this one clip that we had is now 3 different clips because you can see it has 3 different cut marks on it. So that makes it so that if you're wanting to, like, let's say delete this section and move this one to the end and have that twice, then you'd be able to cut it in the places that you want, move it around however you want it to look. So let's go ahead and click Control Z to undo all of those cut marks. You can press just the shortcut C to use your cut tool quickly. So that is a shortcut. And then V is the selection tool. So the selection tool is what I really use the most. So go ahead and select your clip, you move it around. This is a very important tool. So the 2 most important tools that I use is this V and this C razor tool. So usually I call it the cut tool. I don't know why in my mind that's what it is, but it is the razor tool. Another thing, a shortcut that I just thought of because I was saying C and V, is the Control Copy. So let's say I select this section and I want to duplicate it. I can do Control Copy and then Control Paste, which is the same with most things. It's pasting that section, but you have to make sure that it's selected first, whichever one that you're wanting to copy or paste. So let's say I'm wanting to copy this one, I select Control Copy and then I do Control Paste. That's another thing that I use all the time and I think is super helpful. Another shortcut that I like to use is a shortcut that basically makes it so that, let's say you have a bunch of clips in your timeline and they're the wrong length, like this one, I would do Q to get it to that same point to cut to it. Let's say I wanted to cut it right here, I would press the Q button. And let's say at the end I was like, oh, this is, on this one right here, that was all I needed and there's all this extra space, I would do a quick W and that would cut that whole back end off. Alright, so I think that is it for this video. In this video I showed you how to use this source panel and creating in and out points for it. I taught you how to drag the media into your timeline from there. I also taught you about how to do different shortcuts, and I taught you how to delete spaces, and I taught you how to zoom in and out on your timeline. I taught you about layering the clips, how whatever is on the very top is going to be seen. In that same vein, I also taught you how the I button can hide that. It doesn't remove it, but it just makes it so you can't see it right then, so that you can see whatever's underneath. I taught you how to move your clips around, how to cut your clips, and that's basically all that you needed to know for when you're very first starting. So that is going to help you so much when you're making your videos. And in the next video, I am going to show you how to do some different effects and different transitions that are going to help your films look way better. And so I'm really excited to show you that. So I will see you in the next video.
सो आई होप कि आपको वीडियो अच्छी लगी होगी। अगर आपको अच्छी लगी है तो लाइक कीजिए, सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और शेयर कीजिए। और अगर आपको कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछने हों तो आप कमेंट बॉक्स में कमेंट कर सकते हैं और अपने दोस्तों के साथ ज़रूर शेयर कीजिए और सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, जिससे आपको हमारे नई नई वीडियोज़ अपलोड हो तो आपको पता चलता जाए और आप उसके मतलब एक सीक्वेंस वाइज पढ़ते रहें। ठीक है, थैंक यू, अल्लाह हाफिज़।